All right, here we go. Here's how you make a shitload of money in a short amount of time. That's kind of my niche thing, and I'm pretty much sticking to it. Recently, I was passed over to be a 2024 Odie ambassador. I understand it. I'm not very professional. I actually only wanted to have the accolade because every time they announce an ambassador, they go and put them in the Plumbing Heating Contractor magazine, and I get the subscription, and it really would have been nice to, be able to give a copy to my mom, my grandma. My grandma has never used the internet in her entire life. That would have been cool. But, hopefully she lives another year. We'll try again next year. Anyway, we're back on this job where we were digging up the floor. It may look like a mess to you, but you should notice that there is no dirt on the side of these trenches. That's because all of the dirt has been removed from the job site and disposed of, as well as the concrete, and everything is just going to get filled with stone. Now, we wound up keeping pretty much the same orientation of pipes, except I put the laundry stand pipe inside of the box. I had to put the trap slightly outside of the wall, otherwise it would have been crown vented. That standpipe is now 35 inches. That trap would have fit inside of the wall if I could have put a 2-inch vent through the roof. But my VTR needs to be based off of a 3-inch pipe, and I have a 2-inch vent for the kitchen, and then this is the only other vent. 2-inch pipes don't equal a 3-inch in our code. So what I'm doing here is I have the lavatory and the laundry going to tie into this 3-inch stack here. I have a riser clamp on the 3-inch up in the attic. If there wasn't snow and ice on the roof, I probably would have gone up there and pulled the cast iron out. But what are you going to do? I'm not a superhero, man. Next up here, I'm going to tie in the drains for the sink and the tub. The tub is going to wet vent with the sink, so it's going to be a 2-inch pipe for the sink, 1.5 inches for the tub. The oversized sink line is going to be adequate to vent that tub. That's code for us. Here it is before we put the stones. We bedded it with the stones afterwards. Looks a little something like that, and then we filled the whole thing with stone, finished the concrete. It's getting tile, so it doesn't really matter how that concrete looks. Anyway, we'll be here for the finish, but otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. On today's episode of Hack Plumbing, you're going to see a couple of hacks put in a boiler. So this customer called because his boiler was actually rolling flames out of the front of it. And this may come as a surprise to you, but I was the third guy out here, and it turned out I was the cheapest. But I'm sure there's somebody in my comments that could have did the job for cheaper. So we're putting in a Burnham boiler. This is a split feed, split return monoflow system that I'm working on. If you don't know what that means, you should keep your comments about the way I hold my wrenches or put my pipe dope on to yourself. So we're going to be installing the pump on the supply side of the boiler here. We're going to be pumping away from the expansion tank, and then we have our air elimination, our valve, and our purge all in the same spot. That's the best way to do a boiler, and you really can't tell me otherwise. What kind of sucks about this one is the tappings were on the complete opposite side as the other one. So I kind of had to crisscross to make everything happen with the copper. But I got it all done, put the expansion tank on last. It's my favorite thing to do. It's kind of like the clean out plugs when you rough in drains. And there it is. Brand new Burnham boiler. Everything's running. Everything's hot. Customers happy they got heat. I'm happy I got paid. Anyway, see you on the next one. All right, it was 15 degrees in New Jersey this morning when I woke up, so we got some frozen pipes to deal with. For whatever reason, since I've lived in New Jersey my entire life, it seems to be getting warmer and warmer. I don't know if it's like a climate change thing. My personal belief is that the government controls the weather. It just seems convenient to me that newly elected presidents always have a hurricane to deal with in the beginning of their first term. But really, when I was a kid in New Jersey, we used to get like 5 feet of snow every year. It was like 0 degrees from December to February, which really makes you ask the question, why the hell would anybody put pipes like that outside? What idiots. But it was probably there for 100 years, and I'm just a turd for saying anything about it. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a drain on the inside here. This way, when they forget to shut it off again next year and it breaks, I have some place to drain the water down. Now, before you say anything about it, I did give the customer another option because the kitchen sink was right behind this hose line, and potentially I could have just drilled a hole in the bricks through the wall, put a frost proof, put a valve, and actually just ran it right down to the plumbing. But the customer said that it's always been that way. She's never had a problem, and quite frankly, she doesn't like gingers, so not too much I could do about that. But anyway, we got this thing buttoned up. It's the best looking thing in the entire house. Some of that spray painted brass from Home Depot, and we're ready to go, baby. See you on the next one. Welfare is not a career. That's what the guy in front of me's bumper sticker says. Anyway, it's time for another day with a Jersey service plumber. First call, we got a no heat, pilot's out. I suspect a thermocouple. I don't bother testing it because I'm mostly always right about it. I know some guys get upset about that, call me a parts changer, but it's a standing pilot gas valve. It's not fucking rocket science. And I never hear from those same guys on my videos where I do more complicated repairs. So anyway, we got the heat up and running here. It was a quick one. Guy was happy. Don't worry, guys. Flames turn orange sometimes when you're breathing on them. Next call is another no heat in New Brunswick. Somebody was already out and diagnosed this, and they gave me the parts to change. The only reason they would send me here to change the parts is if they didn't believe that the diagnosis the other guy did was good. But I came to find that it was good, so they're just a bunch of shit talkers over there. He's a good guy. He fucking knows what he's doing. I'm just a parts changer. Got this thing up and running without having to untangle the rat's nest that is the zone valves. Next call is pretty far out of my way. It must be a bad neighborhood. People are stealing the gardens over here, apparently. This one was just to pile it out on a water heater. I relit it. There wasn't anything wrong with the water heater. I moved on with my day. She was a service agreement holder, so she didn't have to pay me anything for coming out. How cool is that? Next stop, we got a car wash. They just bought the place. They're having trouble with the snow melt system. There was another guy out here diagnosing it, and here he is pretending like he knows what the fuck he's looking at. There was too many problems in here to deal with, and luckily there was a leak under the slab, so I was able to kick it to some leak detectors. Last call, I got to go pick up a check. I got the evil baby with me in case I don't pay. Check out this bathroom remodel I just finished, guys. It looks nice, right? Beautiful work, very professional. So I had some pipes I had to take away. But don't forget now, guys.